Andy Gregory, D-Law, Alden Smith, Crawford, those guys don't have to worry about playing the run. But let me tell you what happens when you fall behind by 19, by 17, by 15 points. Teams will continue to run and continue to make you look bad. They still have even though through this great patch of games they got, they still have the worst run defense in the NFL and the third worst scoring defense. So I don't know, maybe he's trying to make it seem like Kellen Moore is really good offensive coordinator because Kellen has made it abundantly clear, Skip. He wants to be a head coach, and he's probably in line to get that Boise State job. He's from Boise. He starred there. He was a all-time, maybe arguably their greatest player in Boise State history.
I agree.
And so maybe Jerry is trying to hype him up to make sure he gets that job. But, Skip, that's the most asinine thing. Nobody holds back when it comes to a situation like this. Skip, when I was in Baltimore, we were doing everything we could possibly do to score. But Ray and them would tell us, Shay, give us 10 early and don't turn it over. We'll do the rest. He said, I don't care if you go 3 and I help punt on second down. If y'all don't turn it over and you give us 10 early, Shay, they can't beat us. Skip, just score. Some teams, if you look at some teams, Skip, the way they're built, Indy was built. Teams could run the ball on them when they had Peyton. But what was Peyton's job? Get the lead, so they can neutralize the run. Now you let Freeney. Now you let Robert Mathis. Now you let them go head hunting.
Yep.
Well, Skip, if you down by 15 points, you down by 14, how the hell you take the run out of the equation? So if that's the case, why the hell y'all keep going for it on fourth down then, Jerry? You, Skip, I get it, Jerry, you're excited. It looks like you're going to have a chance. You got a real good chance to make the playoff. But don't do this. Because you undermine everything that's the NFL. That people, you're going to have people thinking, man, so sometimes they just be holding back. They don't want to just score the ball. Skip, every play is called to get what? A touchdown. Every defensive play you call a defense is to stop somebody from getting yards or getting a touchdown. You dial plays offensively, that's some plays you just want to get a first down. But for the most part, you don't call a play and say, nah, I'm calling this play in mind because of my defense. They might not be able to hold. Come on, Jerry, don't do that. Don't do that. You're playing well. You beat some bad teams. You're in position. Leave it at that.
On this point, I do agree, but for different reasons. Yes, my Cowboys are back in the saddle. They're back in prime position to win the NFC least. And all of a sudden, Jerry Jones has his platform back.
He had said it all year.
And all of a sudden, Jerry Jones once again wants to try to convince the public that he really knows football. He lives to convince people he really knows football, because in Jerry's world, the quickest way to prove your manhood is to convince people you really know football.
Correct.
He did play college football at a very high level. Obviously, they were voted national champions his last year at Arkansas, and he was a starting offensive guard. You got to give him that much. But when it comes to knowing football, I think Jerry has some great gut feelings occasionally. I got to go get Charles Haley. I just got to go get him. Jimmy's like, I don't know. I don't want to coach that guy. He's a nightmare, right? No, I'm going to go get him. And he went and got him, and it was the catalyst to them launching their dynasty in the 90s, especially a year early in 92. Charles Haley, he was as strong an edge rusher as I've ever seen in this game, except for if you want to include Lawrence Taylor.
But the thing is, Skip, that was probably the only locker room that could have handled Charles.
You were right.
Because Charles was a different kind of animal.
He was a different kind of animal, and for some reason, on his second chance, he just said, I'm going to embrace this. And he was difficult. I had nothing but trouble with Charles Haley, but I love to watch him play. But that was a Jerry special. Deion Sanders going from San Francisco to Dallas, 94 to 95. That was a Jerry special. So those gut feelings and those initiatives of a guy who's a super salesman, that's what Jerry can pull off for this franchise. As far as knowing football, seeing it, feeling it, being able to predict it, knowing who can play and who can't, as the general manager, he still holds the title. He's the general manager of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know.
Will McClay.
Okay, Will McClay. They have had the second most Pro Bowlers over the last 10 years. This is before this year, because they obviously got shut out this year. But over the last 10 years to Kansas City. But that's a lot of Will McClay, and I'll give Jerry a little credit for that, but it's mostly Will McClay, and I agree with you. But when Jerry gets his platform, when he's on the radio, when he is pontificating and delivering long soliloquies where you've given him the floor for maybe 10, 12 minutes at a time,
Right.
to just go, they'll run through breaks on radio because it's Jerry Jones.
Right.
It's radio gold, right?
Right.
Ratings gold. He will go off and tell stories, and all of a sudden he went completely over the edge into this one, and it lost me because I don't even agree with the logic of it. Because what is the one thing they haven't been able to do all year? Run the football themselves.
Yes.
They can't stop the run, and they can't run.
Correct.
Because you have lost 4 Pro Bowl caliber offensive linemen
Right.
to start with.
Right.
And they're not very good at run blocking to start with. I think they pass protect slightly better than they run block with this new group, okay?
Right.
Including 2 undrafted free agents, a rookie and a second-year player at tackles.
Right.
Okay, so help me out here. What has happened to Ezekiel Elliott? Well, he's plunged and plunged. He now ranks 14th in yards per game. He averages 67 rush yards a game. Well, he's not the same anymore.
Right.
So if you told me that you had the old bell cow back who was Ezekiel Elliott,
right.
if you had the driving force that he was, as you well know, in 2016 and 2017,
right.
maybe part in 2018,
yeah,
I'm good. I get your logic.
Right.
But there's a little Tony Pollard and a little bit of Zeke, and it all adds up to your 17th in rushing. So you're below average in rushing, right?
If the owner of if Amy Adams Skunk, I think that's the last name.
Yep.
If she were to come out and say, what we try to do is that we got Derrick Henry, we pound him.
Yeah.
And so because we know our defense, we can't generate pass rush, and so we pound, we control the clock. Okay, we pay it off with touchdown. Skip, they don't have no Derrick Henry. They don't have Dalvin Cook.
By the way, your favorite website, Pro Football Focus, now ranks Zeke this week as the 44th best running back in pro football. They rank Tony Pollard as the 26th best running back. So they're saying that young guy, he's got some burst to him. We'll give him this much credit, right? Okay, so my point to you is, it's not the same old Zeke anymore. So the whole
and you're
premise,
not the same old running team anymore.
Okay, so the premise of let's pound the ball to try to keep the defense on the sideline, to keep them out of harm's way, it doesn't make any sense because in time of possession for the year, they rank 29th in the league.
Yes.
Only Houston and the Jets and Jacksonville are worse in time of possession than Dallas.
And those are your top 3 draft picks.
Okay.
That's who get the first 3 picks.
Okay, thank you. So where's the logic in this? I can't see it because seriously, the second level logic here would be, what do you have left in Dallas? Well, you have 3 really good receivers, right? And you have a tight end who's frankly surprised me, and Dalton Schultz. I think you've been mildly impressed
I like
with
his
him,
game.
right?
I like his game.
Okay, he can catch it a little bit. He tries hard blocking.
Yeah.
Is he as good as Blake Jarwin? Probably not, but he's been adequate at tight end.
Yes.
Okay, so he's a quasi-weapon.
Yeah.
And Zeke can catch it a little bit, and Tony Pollard can definitely catch it out of the backfield.
Right.
So to me, you wouldn't want to shackle Kellen Moore. With running, you'd want him to throw it and do more dink and dunks, right?
And put the ball in our best player's hand.
Hey,
but Skip, in the process of what he's saying, he's actually hurting the defense. Because by trying to pound it, guess what you keep doing? Going 3 and out and putting your defense back on the field.
I know.
So, Jerry.
I mean, the last thing I want to see is Zeke, because probably it's going to be Zeke, punt.
Because think about it, Skip. You just said they're 29th in time of possession.
Yeah.
So that means there are only a handful of teams that are worse than them. So that means you're going a lot of 3 and out. So if your team is 29th in time of possession, how much time you think your defense is actually spending on the field? So, Jerry, the point that you was trying to make by, we holding him back, you actually hurting your defense by holding him back because you're keeping them on the field longer and getting them exposed even more.
Okay, so help me out here. Since 1993, when Jerry Jones had the audacity to fire Jimmy Johnson after winning back-to-back Super Bowls, has anyone in sports taken more criticism than Jerry Jones over that span of time?
No, probably not. No.
Seriously?
No.
Okay, so he's got thick skin, but he's sensitive to this. He gets it.
Yes.
So he's fighting back, trying to convince you, because he has a little insecurity about this. He's trying to convince you he really knows ball.
Right.
He can talk ball at the deepest level. And I'm like, Jerry, I don't know if this makes any sense.
Skip, it's like the executive, where the unders do the work. They hand in what they've gotten.
That
Jerry
is true.
looks it over.
That is true.
That's what Jerry does.
He loves to hang around, especially on Friday, like late afternoon when everybody's sort of wrapping it up for the week and the coaches they're kind of letting their hair down, and he likes to have a couple of Heinekens and some nachos and kick it with sometimes assistant coaches.
Right.
So Jerry's telling you what he's heard from inside.
Thank you.
It's not what he saw, it's what he heard.
I remember talking to Ozzie, and I was like, Ozzie Newsom, who's the general manager, who stepped aside, and now he still has a big high-up role, but he's not as involved day-to-day as he was.